naked, no makeup, and in the bath. What a perfect place to do a video about the 7 aspects of divine feminine energy. Well, what is divine feminine energy? It's impossible to define it because it is divine and it is a part of us that we're here to understand that we'll never fully understand. But I will do my best to lay out these 7 aspects. I myself have gone through what I call a divine feminine awakening. I was working in the corporate world. I was working too rigorously in academia before that as a student. I really blew out my body and I was forced to take a leave of absence that didn't end for 10 years. I had chronic pains in my body and weird symptoms that doctors couldn't fully diagnose, and I ended up having such deep burnout that I was forced to follow a spiritual path. And in hindsight, I realized my soul chose this. And I see so many women waking up, and men as well, because we all hold the sacred feminine within us, whether we're male or female. So a divine feminine awakening has divine feminine energy in it. So I'm going to define divine feminine energy in hopes that if you're going through a divine feminine awakening like I have, that you will learn how to nurture and care for yourself. The first aspect of the divine feminine is that it doesn't make sense. The feminine is the void. She is the space in between. In quantum physics, 99.9% of matter is made of empty space. So even though we think of the physical world as being real, there's this invisible or subconscious aspect to it. And the logical external world operates in a certain set of rules, the Newtonian physics, the macro world, but then there's this micro world, this internal invisible world that is based on quantum physics, and that is based on energy. So that brings us to the second aspect. The first aspect has to do with really things don't make sense in the physical world. When you're going through a divine feminine awakening, your life may fall apart and you're trying to explain it and it's just nothing's making sense anymore. That is the divine feminine. The goddess does not have to make sense. She does not need to. That's linear masculine stuff, and it's great because God and goddess energies come together. Okay. The second aspect of divine feminine energy is flow. And flow is flow. You cannot control flow. You can set up structures that create flow, but you can't force flow. It's like holding a gun to someone's head and saying, fall in love with me. You can try that, but I don't recommend it. It's not going to work. Flow actually follows love. Flow follows light. Flow follows the divine flow. And so in my life, I was out of my flow. I was an overachiever who was doing things for all the wrong reasons, people pleasing, trying to keep up with the Joneses and the Janeses. And my soul said, wake the F up, man. It's time to be on the planet for the reason that you came here for. And so it was like a wrecking ball came through my life. It fell apart and I'm so grateful. But at the time, there was this falling apart, this devastation, this pain. And why that happened, I needed to take a pause actually, as I was out of flow. And so one of my secrets of coming into flow is actually to take a pause when you're not sure where to flow next. So many of us are following a program. We're in the matrix. We're forcing things. We're not listening to our bodies. We're not listening to the signs showing up in our lives. We're not listening to the flow. The third aspect of divine feminine energy is love. And love knows no bounds, and that's a great thing, and it's also a problem. We can fall in love with lovers that abuse us. We can fall in love with business ideas that go nowhere. We can become attached with our love. We can become sticky. We can become depressed because someone doesn't want us back. So in order to have a successful divine feminine awakening, we have to love, let go, and let love without attachment. And that takes us into a deeper aspect of the divine feminine, number 4. And this is gravity. This is centeredness. Mother Gaia has a center, and we as humans, we're centered in our hara, our womb space for women. And that's around 3 fingers below the belly button, or if you're a woman, you could just put your hands on your womb. That's our center of gravity. And this is a very important place for human beings. We are born into human form, and this is the matrix of our body, and it's centered around our creative space of our hara, or womb. So feel into your womb, feel into the feminine energy there. And notice that gravitational energy. It's solid. That's one of the energies of gravity, is there's this solid pull to it, and it's like the earth pulling us down, this downward contractive energy. And that can be an aspect of the feminine, where we can even feel a little bit suffocated by the feminine. We can feel restricted or held back. And highly feminine women will often struggle with finding a partner because men will call them too needy or sticky. And until they claim that aspect of themselves and find other ways to have those needs met, for example, in women's circles, like at Aphrodite University, we have our women working together both online and Facebook groups, and also in masterminds and getting together for retreats. So the sacred feminine needs to allow itself to be kind of sticky and kind of needy, and kind of bring people not down, but to slow people down and really get them in their bodies. And that brings us to the next point. The aspect that I want to talk about next, number 5, is about the emotional phase. So the masculine energy is logical, linear, and very mental. The feminine is much more intuitive, but I'll talk about that aspect more. And it is emotional. So this 5th aspect, emotions, it ties into the first aspect of it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you have emotions for a good reason, and sometimes we don't know why. It doesn't make sense. There might be a good reason, and maybe that's from a past life, or from a collective trauma that you're healing, or from an astrological thing going on in the stars. Why do I feel so crazy lately? That's the feminine. That's the invisible. And so our emotions are a gift from the goddess. They're assigned to help us to feel into what's going on in ourselves, in our relationships, in our bodies, and even in the cosmos. We can feel what's going on other planets. Our Venus energy in retrograde, or our lunar cycles, we can feel this in our emotions as women and as men by tapping into the divine feminine. The 6th aspect, I hinted upon it already and gave it away, your intuition. Masculine logic versus feminine intuition. They go so well together. They really do. You need both if you're going to be a successful divine feminine leader. If we throw out intuition and we simply focus on logic, I'm supposed to do it like this. This is the best date because the tax season, or I should go take this vacation because this is when, I have the time off, even though it doesn't make sense, but I want to go to this retreat, this workshop. When we trust the feminine, we trust that calling, that inclination, that instinct, that's the feminine. Women who are very tapped in to their instincts will often be able to make a lot of money in their businesses without working as hard. And women who have very strong intuition, who don't listen to their intuition will often fail in their businesses or in their dating lives. So intuition links in with the second aspect, which is flow. Or was it the first aspect? I don't have notes, I'm flowing, so forgive me if my numbers are out of alignment. Flow and intuition go together through synchronicity. You will be in the flow and you'll feel it in your body. You'll feel this feminine energy and ease, and your body relaxes and you feel beautiful. And your instincts brought you there, and they continue to point things out, and you'll have synchronicity. You might be guided to reach out to somebody. You might be guided to go somewhere at a certain time. So that's the feminine, is listening to the intuition. And then the masculine form of that is taking action that has been divinely guided through your feminine intuition. And the last aspect is bliss. Last but not least, number 7, my Pleiadian 7 Sisters Secrets holding friends of mine. You know that your pleasure is a very feminine, juicy aspect. Your bliss creates the divine waters. The waters of the womb of the ocean are made of bliss, ancient, pure, feminine memory. Mem-or in ancient Hebrew means water spirit. So water is actually an ancient memory storage device of the orgasmic ejaculate of Mother Earth and beyond. Our entire galactic system, our solar system, water has condensed here on our planet. These beautiful dew droplets are aspects of the universe in her feminine nature. And the sun and the fire is more of the masculine. So water is liquid pleasure. And water can actually help us get in touch with our orgasmic energies. Having orgasms by water amplifies the manifestation with orgasm. If you practice MFO or MWO, manifest with orgasm. And water can also purify past pain. And obviously, you know, women and men would make pilgrimages to the waters, holy sites. Even today, many go to different holy springs for healings, to take the cures and report to have miracle healings, being able to walk out of their wheelchairs and things like that. So why is water so healing? Because it is an embodiment of the feminine, or a materialization of the feminine energy. So that's a perfect end to this goddess's bath and to this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if there's anything I left out that you want to share about your experience of divine feminine energy, or any questions you have or suggestions on other videos you'd like me to make, I'm in the flow. I will listen and perhaps take action. Namaste, namasko.